The mere exposure effect. Dan, you nailed it. That's exactly what has happened. Tell us about it. Where did it come from, and what does it do?
The concept is very simple, and once I explain it to people, everybody walks away going, oh my gosh, that makes all the sense in the world. That is exactly what's happening. So the mere exposure effect is this very simple psychological phenomenon that the more I expose you to something, or the TV exposes you to something, the more normalized it becomes and the more accepting you become by proxy of it. So you could take any issue in America, whether it be like gay marriage or whatever. You go back 20 years, you'll see like, okay, there was 60 something percent disapproval, but the more it's normalized in TV and movies and things like that, it starts to dip down and people start to not care, and in some issues it can be a good thing, and in other issues it can be bad things. And I think what we're facing today is we're meeting that point in history where a ton of bad things have been normalized, and a lot of people don't realize they've been psychologically manipulated along the way by big media, whether it be Hollywood, music, it doesn't matter what it is. All these forms of entertainment and news are used to psychologically trip people up into accepting pure depravity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it always has to continue. The thing is, I have to say that when I helped to normalize gay rights and gay marriage on my TV show. For me, why I did it is because I have two gay siblings, and my brother's nose was broken 9 times by the time he was 9 years old. So I was against that hatred of and fear and loathing of gay people, and I thought, as I am for all people who are targeted and abused and
And
oppressed.
see, so it can be a
I'm
good
against that.
thing to normalize things
But
like,
look what happened. I opened the
yeah,
door, and GLAAD, the GLAAD Awards, they said, "Oh, Roseanne, you've given us an idea. We're going to give awards for gay and lesbian content." Well, anyway, cut to I come back, and I had an incident that happened. Are you familiar with the Colleen Francis case?
no.
Okay, well, this was up in a college in Washington where uh,
Man.
a person with a penis. That's just all I'm going to say. First of all, I want to say I don't want to see anyone's penis. My whole life I've had too many of them shoved in my face when I didn't want them, as all child victims have. We don't want to see them, okay? You keep it in your pants. You're naked on your horse there, Emperor. You're naked. You need to go home and put on your pants and zip them all the way up and stay in your home and mind your own damn business. Leave our kids alone. But anyway, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Leave the kids alone is how a lot of this could
I
be
don't want to see
summarized.
no wieners. I'm on a no wiener. This is my 70s. No wieners without my invitation or consent.
You were talking
Without
about,
consent, isn't it, leftists?
yes, you were
Who
talking
takes
about Colleen
away women's
Francis.
right to consent to having a dick in their face?
Right.
And I just happened to see it all because I used to be so left, believe it or not. I wrote most of the narrative these idiots go around parroting. I turned my back on it when I saw the racism when I ran for president in 2012. I know how completely racist it is to yank people against other people. That's completely evil. And they want race against race, neighbor against neighbor, brother against brother, because that takes all the heat off of the fact they're stealing all our money, and they want our kids, and they don't just want them for slaves, as in Palestine there, where they're all running around free Palestine. Those tunnels that Israel exposed that are 40 miles long, those tunnels were dug by child forced slave labor of Palestinian children. I have the
And that's
facts.
happening all
God's
over the
gonna
world.
make it all come out.
Yep.
God's exposing it all, and your movie is part of 101, and even more than that. It's a master class in it, and I'm just overwhelmed to have you here. I'm so proud of you. You've done a masterful job, you and your wife. We wish she was here. We want her on too, but oh my God, you just looked right into the heart of the beast, like you lobbed volley after volley after volley, like you say at the end there. The last thing they can do, oh, they can gaslight and they can do legislation in the dark behind the people's backs. They can get their kids away from them in the public schools. They can do all that, but the one thing they cannot do is not lie. Once all their excuses are out and you've knocked down every one of them, you're just left in front of a sociopathic liar, and then you and your wife taunt them a little. And I'm so proud of you because you
Mhm.
fought the Satan. You did. And you came out alive just like Daniel out of that den.
And I hope it's an example to people they can do the same thing, because we're not special people. We're normal people. Everybody has the power in some capacity where they are to stand up against evil. And that's what we felt the calling was with this film. And we didn't truthfully really know entirely what to expect going into making this, because it's sort of like research as you film, and so things could have gone a
Yeah.
million different directions. And at every turn, God led us the right way, led us to the doors where we would go, oh my gosh, how was this so like just easily put in front of us? We would have never conceived of this at the beginning. And things always worked out so that this story could come together and people could understand, exactly what's happening. Because I think one of the problems is, we see negative news stories like every couple days, every 2 weeks. If you're like an average person, doesn't consume news a lot, you'll see a story about a drag queen, doing a sexual show in front of a kid, but then you don't hear anything for a few weeks. And the next thing is something about some crazy curriculum. And it's just kind of like, oh, there's this fringe of crazy people. And it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking it's a fringe, but in reality, it is running the country and soon the world.
It's not
And
the
so
fringe, it's the establishment
100%.
itself.
100%.
It is the
100%.
establishment itself and all of its arms to be rallied against people like us who say, "Hey, you're naked, Emperor. You're not wearing any Versace suit. You're naked with your wiener right in my face, and I don't want to see it because I have rights as a woman." Believe it or not, Democrats, I have rights as a woman that I fought a long time for, and so did my mother and her mother. And you're not going to take them away by putting on a silly ass wig. You're not. I'm not going to let you.
Oh, you see my face.